Okay, Rosie, I think we can start.
Okay. Oh, it's already 12. Can I already start with the webinar? So you have...
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. I think I should still wait because there are some incoming participants.
I think looking at the timing, you could start. It's the
Okay.
first minutes you do the introduction.
Good,
yeah.
because I still, yeah. So hello everyone, welcome to the final webinar of the Everyone webinar series that we are conducting now towards the end of our project. Today, some speakers will present their insights from the project, but also our network or ecosystem members will present their experiences and perspectives on the energy transition. My name is Ruzica Luketina, also called Rosie. I will walk you through 3 interesting presentations today. And before that, I would like to walk you also through our, let me share the screen, through our flow of the webinar. So your microphone and your camera is disabled by default. However, you can engage with us via 3 ways. First of all, via the Q&A function. You will find this Q&A function on the top of the Teams meeting window between chat and people. You can also post in the chat. Please also feel free to introduce yourself so that everyone knows who is present in the webinar, or if you want to connect. And also at the end of the webinar, you will have the opportunity, if you wish to, raise your hand to be unmuted and to turn on your camera if you want to engage in this way. So let me first introduce the Everyone project. The Everyone project, or the main focus of the Everyone project, is to enable everyone to participate in the digital energy transition. In Everyone, many learning materials or capacity building materials have been produced. And also there is still the possibility to connect with each other, where different, we call them ecosystem members, had the opportunity to interact with each other, ranging from energy communities to municipalities, but also to energy market enablers and energy providers. The Everyone project was a long project, 4 years. It's ending end of April this year. It has been funded by the European Horizon program, and 11 partners are working within this project from 9 countries. And I will now go to our speakers of today's webinar. And I will introduce all of them at once. This is Vera Kools. Vera Kools is one of the project team members. She is a researcher from the Eindhoven University of Technology. Her research focuses on how can people be involved in the energy transition, and she links the questions of justice and inclusion in the energy system. In Everyone, she was researching on energy literacy and developing learning materials, and this is also her presentation today. Then Maria Margosi is an economist. She's specializing in environmental and energy economics. She has an extensive experience in EU-funded research, also on energy transition and sustainable development. She works as a researcher in the energy community Collective Energy, where she coordinates the operation of the energy community, also contributing her expertise in policy analysis, economic evaluation, and community-based energy initiatives. And Antonia Proka is the head of capacity building at RESCOOP EU. RESCOOP EU is the European Federation of Energy Communities. She specializes in city-citizen collaboration and aims to amplify the development of inclusive and gender-just energy communities. She was previously the lead energy expert for the Directorate General Regio, Communities for Climate Initiative. And she supported the development of the European Commission's Clean Energy for EU Island Secretariat. Yes, and to put everything or to connect everything on the talks, how the talks are connected, all of three of them will speak how information, knowledge, cooperation, and participation can enable people to do what they would like to do, change what they regard as necessary to be changed, and to empower themselves. And now I will give the floor to the first speaker, Vera Kools. And I will stop sharing and she will start.
Yes, thank you, Rosie. So I would like to tell you more today about energy literacy. Maybe you have heard about this concept or maybe not, but I think it's an important concept to think about how to inform and engage people in the energy transition and in energy communities. And this is part of my research I did for the Everyone project that fed into the development of our knowledge hub, which I tell you more about later. But it also fed into a scientific paper that we just submitted to a journal together with Joanneum. Yeah, and I'm excited to tell you more about this research. Well, this research started because we saw that there was a lot to understand for people about energy. Maybe you also noticed from your own organization or energy community that there's a lot to inform people about so that they can actively join and participate. For example, if you want people to save energy, they need to have some information on how to do that. For example, about radiator foil, how to apply that and use it. People want to understand their energy bill because this is not so intuitively all the time. People want to understand energy communities before they can actually join. What is it? The awareness about this. But also smart meters require some knowledge to be able to work with this or have this in your home. And especially with the digitalization, we see that there is more and more to understand about energy so that people can participate. And to understand this, the term energy literacy is a very helpful concept because energy literacy is people's energy knowledge and skills that they have or need to have to join. And often energy literacy is seen as a prerequisite for participation. So you need to understand something and then you can join. And we see this need for energy literacy, for this information, for understanding energy in many different contexts, also in energy communities. And there we also see that the energy communities are actively working on informing their members, but also potential members about energy. And this is what this research was about. Because we studied how are these energy communities doing this energy literacy? What is happening there? And there we found two ways of seeing energy literacy. The first one is seeing energy literacy as a prerequisite. So like I said, it's something happening before participation. You need to understand and know about an energy community before you will say, I will join an energy community. This means that you think about it, energy literacy, as you are literate or not. You understand it or not, so you can participate or not. So it's a bit more aesthetic, a bit more linear approach to energy literacy. But in all the conversations with energy communities, we learned that there was way more happening and that it helps to see energy literacy as a social practice. And that means you see it as something people do in a very specific context. So it's not a check you can do before participation, but it's a continuous process. You keep learning while you are participating. And this creates more awareness for the very diverse and personal context-dependent needs people have to learn about energy, to understand it. And this approach helps to see it in a more inclusive way, to see all the specific and personal things people need to understand about energy. And I will tell you more about these two perspectives in a bit. But first, I would briefly tell you how we got there, the methods. It was a qualitative research and an iterative process, which means that we went back and forth between our empirical insights from energy communities and the literary review we were doing. The study focused especially on Greek energy communities in interviews and focus groups, but it happened against the backdrop of the Everyone project, where we did way more interviews and also surveys with diverse organizations, also municipalities, for example. And there we saw similar trends, but the paper is focused on the Greek energy communities. For the literature, we looked at very diverse bodies of literature that bring their own perspective to energy literacy. And together that led to the development of those two perspectives. So about the first perspective, energy literacy as a prerequisite means that the focus is on how we can fix people's energy literacy to empower them, to enable them to participate. And this creates a focus on the topics people should understand and the tools that enable people, that enable us to bring this information to people. So these topics help us to think in, okay, this is what people need to understand so that they can participate. And in the energies communities, we found that the main topic to inform people about is joining an energy community. So what is an energy community and how can you get involved? And if you understand that, you can decide for yourself to participate or not. Then there was also attention on information that people need to participate in the energy community decision making. So you need to understand something about general assemblies and voting to be able to actually participate as an active member there. And last, we also saw that energy communities are more and more focusing on giving information to reduce your household energy consumption. For example, about insulation. You need to understand what insulation is and how you can apply that to be able to actually do this in your home. So we can think about clear topics that people need to understand to participate. And then we also found the tools that energy communities are using to bring all these topics, this information, to the people. And there we found, also a list of ways you can do that. I think a very important one was the informal mouth-to-mouth contact, so talking with your friends and neighbors and families, but also more formal ways like events. Think about an information evening or another local event you participate in as community, or leaflets or flyers or the local news. So these are the ways to bring these topics to the people, so that once they have engaged in this, they can participate further. Yes. So this was energy literacy as a prerequisite, but we found that there was way more happening. And that is what we present in energy literacy as a social practice perspective. And in this perspective, the focus is on energy literacy as something that you do in a very specific and personal context. So it's more dynamic. And this led us to 3 dimensions. We see then that there are many literacies. We also see that learning is participation already in itself. And we also see that framing of information shapes participation. So framing shapes what you do. I will now walk through those 3 dimensions one by one. So when we understand energy literacy as something you do, as a social practice, it creates awareness for that energy literacy is very dependent on your very personal context, depending on time and place. Where are you in this energy transition? This also means that learning is not something to check off before you can participate, but that it's continuously evolving and you might have new questions, new learning needs while you are joining an energy community. It also means that we cannot think of one list of topics people should understand because it's not a one size fits all. It's very personal what you need and very context dependent. One example of very contextual energy literacy needs comes from a misunderstanding that was important for some of the communities to clarify. And I will read it. Like here in Greece, we have a bad past. A lot of private energy companies claim here to exploit for their own profits. So people are not eager to participate. So I try to explain them, like they try to explain that we are different. So this was a bit of the history, the local history that needed to be clarified to some of the people, to clarify this misunderstanding. And this is something you would not find in a list like this is what an energy community is, but it's very personal and context dependent, that this is also part of energy literacy. Moreover, we found that energy literacy can also be information about finding your way through the organization. So knowing where to ask for help or knowing how to request or to pay later. These were aspects that are also super personal and depending on your own journey of participation or where you are in your involvement in the energy community when you need this information on how this organization works. And we can also consider this as energy literacy, but it's often also not found on the list of information you need to have about an energy community. So there are many energy literacies when you see it as a social practice. The second aspect is that learning can be considered as participation in itself, because learning requires you to actually do something. When we look at the tools of other ways you can learn, this asks something from you to do. And this raises new questions on who are able to learn, who have access to these learning tools. We found great examples of communities offering childcare during an event, which enables parents to also join and participate in a learning event. And again, people still told us everything should be short and concise, because this lowers the barrier to learn, because it's something that you do. It's not something to check off before participation, but it's something that requires already active participation. And when you see energy literacy as something you do, you also see that the tools are connected. It's not a list, but they relate to each other. For example, when our president talked in the radio or television, we see a lot of phone calls from people who want to become members. So these tools interact with each other, and people follow their own path through those learning tools to enrich their energy literacies. So it helps to see learning and energy literacy already as participation in itself and not something that happens beforehand. Then the last point I would like to make is that the framing of information is an important aspect of becoming more energy literate. And with framing, I mean the aspects that we put in focus when we bring those topics to the people. So how you frame your text or your pictures. Because not only the topics we talk about, but also how we frame these topics need to link to what people actually are doing. For example, the framing of the benefits was found a very important aspect. So when you inform about what an energy community is, you can focus on financial benefits, social benefits, or sustainability, environmental benefits. And the way you frame it makes people, can spark interest to people, but it can also be a barrier for people that maybe sustainability doesn't resonate so well to everyone. So it's important to consider the framings that matter to people and also balance the framings that you use to not scare away people and spark the interest you want. Last, we found that it's important to frame the information in relation to daily life. So again, you can talk about energy communities and inform people about it in a technical way, talk about the energy system, but you can also choose a more non-technical way with concrete information and examples on what people can actually do with this information. So it's different if you explain an energy community in a technical system, or if you explain an energy community related to how you deal with energy in your home, how you cook or how you heat your home. So this is also where we see that energy literacy is something that people do, so it should relate to their daily life. Well, the main takeaway is that there are two perspectives on energy literacy and that both have their own values and can help us to work with energy literacy. Because if we see energy literacy as a prerequisite for participation, something that people need to have information before they can participate, this helps us to think more concretely about topics and tools that can stimulate energy literacy for people. While as we look at energy literacy as a social practice, we have more focus on energy literacy as something you do in a very local, personal context. And that helps us to see the very diverse energy literacy needs that also develop over time. So it's a learning process, and to pay attention to the framings of those topics, because it's not neutral what energy literacy is. And when we see it this way, it helps us to pay more attention to the inclusiveness of energy literacy. And maybe you also notice from your own work on energy literacy that sometimes it helps to think in very concrete lists of topics and tools to foster energy literacy. But sometimes a more dynamic and flexible approach is needed to tailor all the information to the specific needs of maybe sometimes one person, so that you bring the message across there as well. So there's value in both. And that concludes my presentation on the research. And this research feeds into the Everyone Project work. Because based on these insights and also the insights from my other colleagues, we have been developing the Knowledge Hub. And the Knowledge Hub is a platform where we present learning materials that we developed about the energy transition, energy communities, but also on digitalization. And we developed about 80 free learning materials that you can find on the website. And here we also acknowledge diverse literacies. So there are diverse topics, diverse framings, diverse formats, diverse levels, because we saw that the needs are different. And then, and I think this is a very cool option my colleagues developed, we have the reuse, readapt, and remix option. And this means that the materials are open licensed, so you can adjust it to your own situation, your own context. So you can add your own examples in there, or you can mix and match the chapters that you find the most suitable for your situation. And we are now currently working on the translations of these materials, and more will be uploaded to the website. And here on the right, I put some examples. We have, for example, an online course about energy communities. What is it? But we also have a booklet, and I did the Greek title here. It's What is an energy community and how can I join? But we also have a video about digitalization and a game for children to get involved, to get a first understanding about what energy is and how that works. So we have a whole bandwidth of learning materials available. And if you want to know more about how this was developed and how it works, you can check out the Everyone practical guide about this Knowledge Hub, which is also available on the website. Yeah, and then my final message here is to check out the Knowledge Hub, especially the page, the pathway on energy communities, where we gathered all the learning materials that are specifically for energy communities focused, but there's way more. Yeah, so I hope you got something out of the two perspectives of energy literacy, and I invite you to check out the Knowledge Hub. Thank you.
Thank you, Vera. Yeah, if you have any questions, and I saw that some of you stepped in later, you can post them in the Q&A section, or also, of course, in the chat here. Thank you, Vera. This was very interesting, and I also, for the first time, saw your presentation and your insights. Really nice to hear how you broaden up the scope of literacy and energy literacy, and to connect it to the lived context of the people. Good. Now I give the floor to Maria, a member of an energy community, to talk about her experiences.
Good afternoon also from me. Let me check and to share my screen. Okay, before it was working well, now it's not. I don't know. Okay, I will share my whole screen. So is it okay?
Yep, it works. Thank you.
Okay, great. So good afternoon from me. Today I will present the experience of collective energy. We also refer to our energy community as COEN from the initials, so I'm going to use it a lot. I will try to focus on how we try to inform and engage citizens. And I will share not only what we do, but also one of our biggest challenges and the lessons we learned that may be useful also for other energy communities. At first, a few words about our energy community. Collective Energy is a non-profit citizen energy community founded in Athens in early 2020 under the first Greek law about energy communities of 2018. And from the beginning, our goal was not only to produce renewable energy, but also to actively involve citizens in shaping a more socially just energy transition in Greece. We have several areas of activity. Our first and core activity, of course, is ensuring access to clean and affordable energy for our members. Our first project is a solar plant which is operating under the virtual net metering scheme. We have 47 households participating in the solar plant and 2 cooperatives who benefit from the energy production. And of course, we have 2 vulnerable households from a municipality in the area of Attica that it is also included, and they are benefit for free from the plan. By doing this, we're not just producing energy, but we're also trying to address energy poverty and promote social equity. For the vision in the community is that the energy transition must be inclusive. This is a picture from our solar plan. Our second area of activity, it's based on the research we do. We explore organizational models, how energy communities can be structured in order to maximize participation, democracy, and fairness. We develop operational models trying to identify effective ways to manage projects from planning to long-term operation. And we try to evaluate technical models and methods, testing renewable technologies. And through the participation in European research projects, we try to combine theory and practice every day. Of course, our third area of activity is supporting the institution of energy communities in Greece and Europe. It's really important for us, this area. We organize and participate in training seminars and workshops. We try to guide citizens and local authorities who want to establish their own energy communities. We conduct studies on regional energy needs and contribute to strategic energy planning. And we are also active members of the National Network of Energy Communities in Greece and in RESCOOP at the European level. For us, energy community is something very important. And why it's important? Because energy communities transform citizens from passive consumers into active prosumers. They create local impact, they increase the acceptance of renewables, and strengthen local identity. At the European level, policy actively supports citizen participation. But most importantly, energy communities, as I said, they're not just energy production. They are about people, participation, awareness, and collective action. Our fundamental values, let's say, upon which COEN was founded, is that we believe grassroots actions are essential to address the climate and energy crisis. We also embed our work within broader pilot projects that engage citizens in flexibility and energy sharing research. And our collective self-consumption model directly addresses energy poverty. So engagement is not just an add-on for us, it is the core of our identity. Over time, we tried to identify some best practices for informing and engaging citizens. First, for us, clear and democratic governance is the most important element. When members truly participate in decision-making, they can feel the ownership that comes along with the participation in the energy community. Secondly, inclusive education and communication. It's also very important. We organize workshop, info sessions, and educational programs for our members. And we try to reduce the complexity of all this energy scheme and build confidence among our members, but also in general public. Of course, for us, storytelling is a useful tool that can explain energy communities in more practical terms and not so technical language, and makes energy communities more accessible. Finally, local events and co-creation are really crucial because people can engage more when they feel that they're actively participating in something rather than just observing. However, our biggest challenge was to engage members in order to invest in our first solar plant. It is in Greece, for many people at that time, it was the first time that they even heard that you can co-own a solar plant and produce your own energy collectively. The context of which we had to operate, it was something new and unfamiliar in the Greek people. Collective self-consumption was not widely understood, how it works. Citizens were not used to co-owning energy infrastructure. It seemed something really big for them. And of course, because of the latest history of cooperatives in Greece, there was a limited trust on this kind of structures. Members also had to invest their own money. They had to trust the cooperative model. They had to believe in the long-term benefits. A solar plant has a lifetime of 25 years. It's not just for the next 1 or 2 years. So the questions we had to face, it was very straight and direct. Is it safe? Is it legal? Will we actually see savings and have economic benefits? What if the project fails? So the challenges was not so much technical. It was about trust, it was about uncertainty and cultural readiness. So in this context, we tried to address the challenges in three main ways. At first, it was the principle of radical transparency. We openly shared the business model, the projections, all the risks, the payback period, and we made no exaggeration, no overpromising, and we didn't hide anything. It turns out that transparency built credibility for us. Second, we made many educational meetings before recruitment of the new members. We didn't just say invest. We explained what is an energy community, how virtual net metering works, and we answered every question. It took time. Actually, it took months to go through this process. And third, in order to try to embed and engage our new members in our core values, we framed the narrative not in a concept of invest in a solar plant, but in a frame of, in that way, you become a part of a citizen-led transition. So what can other energy communities learn? What we can say as a sum up of all this? Trust for us, it was more important than understanding the technology part. Building a solar plant was technical, but building confidence among the members, it was more crucial. Education reduces fear. Before asking people to invest, it's really crucial to help them understand the model, understand the risks in order not to have surprises in the future, and also understand the benefits that they can have. Transparency beats marketing. It's something that we like to say because credibility seems to be our strongest asset since the starting of including new members in our energy community. And it's something that it is also evident now after 3 and 4 years. The start was everything. Finally, the first project is always the hardest because, as we understand, we try to find all the ways. Once the first plant is operating, we have the results, the engagement is much more easier, and the trust grows in an organic way. So thank you very much for your attention. Thank you for the invitation, the Everyone Project, and I'm very happy to answer to your questions.
Thank you, Maria. Yeah, thank you for presenting your experiences. It's always good to hear how all the energy communities go through similar struggles, but they have different solutions. And Antonia, please take the floor.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the kind invitation actually to contribute to this webinar today. Let me share my screen and I'm gonna put it full screen. If it will follow me, that would be great. So yes, hopefully now you see this full screen. Great. So I'm very happy that I'm coming third in line because the previous presenters, let's say, already started very well. Presented the context very well, and I'm happy to contribute a little bit on what I see as missing a little bit. So the idea was that today we're going to speak about, okay, how can energy communities better inform, engage, and empower the members? But I thought, what a better way than starting with the cooperative principles. The previous speakers actually already touched a little bit upon them, but I thought that it's a great idea to actually put them on a slide and remind us all that these are the principles that really guide the operation of all cooperatives. And in fact, when we talk about energy communities, let's say this still, let's say for the energy communities, these cooperative principles are still the golden standard, and the cooperative principles are the golden standard also for the energy communities. That's where everything started, in fact. And I'm not going to go through one by one through all these principles, but you will see that in fact this the principle of education, training, and information is indeed at the core of the operation of the initiatives. And if you connect this with the concern for the community, that we really want to enable everyone to be part of this transition. So, and this, of course, connects to what was mentioned earlier about, okay, is this a prerequisite or is it actually a practice? I agree that it's nice to actually see this in how to say, a dialectic, that is both can be both a prerequisite and a practice, that we see that for people to be able to join, they really need to understand a lot of things, and we really engage with them to be able to understand and feel more like empowered to contribute. Maybe a concept that I think that more and more communities are now using is this concept of the circles of commitment that I wanted to share with you today. And you can see that the idea, you have the community all around, let's say, at the outer circle. And the idea is to try to involve as many people as more as possible, let's say, to bring them as possible, as close as possible to the core. But of course, the important is to also understand that at some point, even if your goal is to have as many people at the core of a community, at the end of the day, we need to understand the limitations, let's say, that different citizens have, and try to service them in a sense, try to really offer the information that they wish to have and engage them in the way it makes sense for them. So the different levels, let's say, of this engagement, let's say the commitment, really like involve different levels of communication, different level of engagement. I will share some examples to make this more clear. I will start with Brew Power, which is the energy community that I'm also personally a member of. Brew Power is a cooperative here, an energy community here in Brussels. You can see on the map that there were a lot of cooperatives all across Belgium, but there was a gap in Brussels. Not anymore, because now we have the community established. And I wanted to share that here you can see on the official, let's say, some official illustrations of ours. You can see the visuals really follow these kind of circles of commitment. So, of course, we have, let's say, the core. 1 second, because I cannot really see. Here we are. You have the core of the community. Then you have like the organizers and the volunteers. So maybe, let's say, in the core you have the employee. You have also the board of the community that are really like they have these activities at priority, and they really invest a lot of time in this. But then around them you have like a lot of organizers and volunteers that they really work on different working groups. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in the next slide here, you can see that we have different working groups that people can get involved in and contribute. They're all important for the community. Either you develop a project, help develop a project, or you like support with the energizing, let's say, the community movement, developing workshops to really like engage more and more. You have a lot of different opportunities to contribute. Then there are some people that would be willing to support the community, but they may not have so much time to contribute. So we call them as ambassadors. So they really like share the news about Brew Power and what an energy community is, what Brew Power can do for them. So they really like share the whole value. Of course, you have then the community. The community, the next level is the people that follow the activities closely. They might check what we post on social media. They might join in different events we're organizing, and they are interested. And they often support us. Then the wider public is actually the public that, okay, maybe they have heard something about us, but we haven't really engaged them yet. But maybe at least we try to get them in the first level, let's say, to at least get them subscribed to our newsletter, for instance. I would like to continue maybe with another example from Germany, from Urstrom, that the cooperative was actually established back in 2010. And they have 500 members. They have different projects, both when it comes to the solar production, but they also supply this generated renewable energy, and they also have an e-car sharing scheme, let's say, so that their members can actually also drive using the electricity that they produce. If we go again through these kind of circles again, we can say that the outer circle, you have the community. This is where people, let's say, the people around the particular community in the region of Mainz and Rhine-Hessen. Apologies for the German participants. My German is not so strong. So the particular region where the cooperative is established. Then, of course, you want to, as we were saying, you want to make as many of these people part of the broader community. You want to turn them into crowd. So following the terminology, you want to get them become member of the community. Therefore, they organize a lot of activities like test drives for these electric cars. They organize an annual event. They have monthly meeting for the members and the interested people and interested citizens that could potentially become members eventually. They organize different public events, and of course they have like they're present on social media. Then, if we get closer to the core, let's say, we have the contributors, the members of the crowd that volunteer. They are more active, but they also potentially buy shares for the cooperative or donate some money. They organize particular neighborhood cafes. I mean, they organize meetings, in the neighborhood cafes to discuss different activities, different topics. Then we have also the team, the committed, let's say, group, these contributors who are structurally engaged and support the particular projects that they have. For instance, members that can not only members that, of course, vote for the General Assembly, but we need members that help organize this General Assembly. And again, you have people active in different working groups. Remember the working groups that I mentioned earlier from Brew Power. And then the core, let's say, the core group that you have, the very committed people. As I mentioned earlier, you have the board members, you have the supervisory board members, the volunteers, the technical people involved in organizing events, technical expertise is also relevant, and of course the communication expertise. So we've seen a little bit how this model, let's say, of the circles of commitment work. I wanted in the next few minutes that I have, I wanted to also describe a little bit, say a few words about how the local authorities could support. I mentioned I work for, it was mentioned in my introduction actually, currently I work in a project called COEN, that we really want to support the development of energy communities with, again, the collaboration and the support of the local authorities. And in a previous project, the Life Loop project, we already started this kind of like city-citizen collaboration. And we have a report where we describe all the three pilot, let's say, one-stop shop that we helped support. The approaches are different. We have the first one-stop shop is municipality led. I will already start actually with the slides. The first approach is the municipality of Zagreb has established this one-stop shop. It has invested some funds, in fact, and it offers different information, different services around technical, legal assistance, and it also targets the alleviation of energy poverty. The audience, what they try to engage is broad. It's citizens, people facing vulnerabilities currently, and different local businesses. The example that I'm going to mention next is actually an interesting one because it's this one-stop shop is actually led by a cooperative. An energy community in Crete, the Minoan energy community, is the leading, let's say, force behind this one-stop shop. So that means that the one-stop shop is actually driven by volunteers, but they have some collaborations also with municipalities. They also similarly offer services around technical, let's say, pre-feasibility studies, feasibility studies. They also organize legal and advocacy support, and they also organize a lot of events to increase public engagement. Similarly, the audience is citizens, members of other type of cooperatives, the wider community. but also policymakers. As I said, they really like focus also on the advocacy. So they really try to support the establishment of more energy communities and more one-stop shops for the actually for providing support to energy communities. And then, as last example, the third pilot that we have seen is the example from Bistrica, from Romania, where we see a hybrid. We actually have seen that they developed this one-stop shop with limited project-based funding from the municipality side, but for the organization, let's say, they really need and depend on volunteers and local businesses, in fact. They also offer legal, financial assistance, and they organize a lot of awareness campaigns, and they have a similar target audience. So I'm going to close by saying that within COEN, we will also soon, later in spring, we will actually start a platform to enable the exchange between different one-stop shops that they are already established or they are like emerging, that they wish to provide operational support services for energy communities. And in addition, maybe I should say that I'm very happy to see how far you've gone with the Everyone project, because in parallel, we also assess the existing tools that have been developed for energy communities in order to streamline a little bit and somehow collect all the material on one space, the energy community platform that we operate from RESCOOP EU. But also, I'm happy to see that we have the translations because we wish to, of course, enable the different one-stop shops that emerge across different countries to have the material in their own national or local language in any case. This was my presentation. I hope it was clear. I'm going to stop sharing and I'm happy to address any questions that may appear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Antonia. Yeah, it's so good to see how much is going on in this field in Europe. It's crazy. And what I found or find interesting is, and maybe I pose the first question and then I go to the others in the Q&A. And it's maybe directing to all, but maybe more Antonia and Maria, because you're in the practice. Many communities and cooperatives and citizen-led initiatives are trying to involve vulnerable households, but it's very hard to reach them. Have you experienced how to reach them and how you approach them? Maybe Maria and then Antonia.
Yes, it's really hard to approach vulnerable households. In our case, I will talk about our case. In the framework of transparency, we tried to make, let's say, an official way of selecting two households. So we go through the social services of the municipality that we managed to reach, because I will make a short comment here. It was even hard to find a municipality in order to provide us through their social services, these households, because municipalities didn't know about the energy communities. And we were saying there that we're going to offer something for free. So it was like they didn't feel very good. So when we finally got in touch with the municipality, all the process was through their social services. We conclude to the indicators that we're going to use in order to choose the household. And it was a process that it was made by them, and they just provide us the two names and
So you had to indicate, so first you had to build up the trust with the municipality, then you had your indicators that were also like credible, and then they were they were selecting those households and providing you the names.
Yes, social services of the municipality has definitely more information than us. That's why.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Antonia?
Indeed, I agree with what Maria said, and that's why we say with the experience we've had so far, is that the collaboration between the local authorities and the energy communities is crucial, because maybe the municipalities often in different areas they have information about the people that actually need the support, the people that they're in vulnerable situation, and then maybe the local authority does not necessarily have the capacity to really go door by door to help by sharing some information, helping with let's say with the easy first steps of reducing your energy consumption, but also more importantly helping people to really empowering people to become also members of energy communities, to be able to directly get the access to the benefits. There I wanted to maybe stress one thing that is a bit difficult, because maybe another example that I know, Maria, probably you're also aware that I'm very happy to see that you're also doing it in COEN, the energy community. When we had an earthquake a couple of years back in Crete, and houses were also destroyed or significantly damaged. It was the local community that I mentioned, Minoan Energy Community, that in fact offered free electricity to a number of citizens that were actually influenced by this earthquake, without them being necessarily members. They saw, because this concern for the community, I started with the principle, this concern for the community is really materializing. That said, I wanted to stress that sometimes, though, what we see maybe in other areas, let's say across Europe, sometimes people already receive the social tariff, let's say, and an energy community. It's not always the case. It's not always possible to beat, let's say, this social tariff. So we need to be careful. We need to be, on the one hand, I'm sure that the energy communities can really contribute. We can really help in this addressing the energy poverty. Nevertheless, it shouldn't be the sole responsibility of energy communities to tackle this problem. This is a social problem, and there are other actors better fitted to do so. Yeah.
Okay. I will now move to a question that is directed at Vera, to give also you the possibility to answer, because looking at the time. So Paul Wadler is asking he's also living in Brussels and was pleasantly surprised about how good the info was about energy communities from Le Milieu in Brussels. It's a public agency, so probably more trusted than private companies. Did you look into how active these public agencies are in informing the public in different countries? And the second question, do you think you could link your Knowledge Hub to some of their websites? Or maybe they prefer just their own national info, don't know. So maybe, you choose which question you answer first.
Thank you for the question. Did I look into how active these public agencies are in informing public in the countries? No, for this paper, I focused on what is energy literacy, but of course, they are also important actors informing about energy and energy communities. So I think it all helps to get the information to people. And if we could link the Knowledge Hub to some of their websites, I think we're now also really in a stage that the Knowledge Hub is there. So always open for collaborations to put the information on all the places where it could help people. So yes, that could be an option. Thank you.
I'm looking to Hannah and Rebecca. How much time do we have? I mean, it's already 1, but maybe we can still answer some of the questions.
It's 1 month, so maybe 1 round of answers, but it's also lunchtime, so yeah, maybe 1 round.
I know.
Final
I know.
round.
Yeah. So I will go to the first question directed at Maria. What was the profile number of the core group of initiators of your energy community? Are they still engaged, and did the core values of your energy community, I guess, change through time? Maria.
You asked me about the core, the founding members. Yes, they're still engaged, the founding members of our energy community. They're still active in the board of directors, some of them. And actually, we had a really small call in the beginning because according to the previous law, and not that one that is working right now in Greece, we could found an energy community with only 10 members. So it was actually something easier, let's say, compared to the 30 members that it's needed right now. There were people involved, the majority of them, it was people involved in the energy scene in terms of research. They were electrical engineers, so they were trying to figure out how this path of energy transition could work in Greece. And there were also founding members that they were interested on the social aspect of this investigation, let's say, of how an energy community could work and operate in Greece.
Okay.
I don't know if I answered your question fully.
I also wanted to ask you, because Maro Saridaki has additional questions to you, Maria. Maybe we can share your email address.
Yes, of course. I will share my email in the chat.
Yeah. Maybe we can do that, and then you can get directly in touch with Maria. Good. And I didn't check the chat if there were additional questions, but we have to finish. Thank you all for participating, and also to the speakers for presenting, and for taking out some time from your day for this webinar. Have a nice day. Have a good lunch.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank you.